What is up, guys? This is PVM Vertigo, and welcome to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. Okay, so first, we're doing a little bit of a satellite launch, and I just kind of left this, the way it records, just so you can see what happened to my recording. But, I attempted to fix it, so I hope it's fine for you. There's gonna be a little bit of a, discrepancy. There's kind of like a vertical line on the side, because I tried to match up the frames as best as I could. Might be a little annoying, but I can't re-record it, obviously, because you can't revert that far. I didn't quick save or anything, so. Uh, Pardon me for having that annoying line there. Yeah, you can see right there on the launch pad, but nevertheless, besides the recording issue that I don't even know how it recorded like that, this is a satellite launch. We're heading off right to a Minmus orbit today. And if you notice there, I did a little bit of a relaunch. That's just because I needed to switch out, or not switch out. I just wanted to add one thing. I just added a reaction wheel system, because the probes, they don't exactly have the greatest control reaction wheel wise. I do have a probe on there that has SAS enabled. SAS is kind of mandatory. You can't exactly control a probe without them, or else it just behaves crazily and it's just a nightmare. But anyways, going up to Kerbin orbit right now, circularizing, and after we do that, we're just gonna be heading out straight to Minmus. Basically all this episode is just gonna be a gigantic cash grab. We're just gonna try to get as much money as we can, because we need to start saving up for the final missions, the final set of missions, which we go off to Jool in a new powerful spacecraft. This would be very exciting. But before we do that, we need to have enough money to fund the mission and the huge launch vehicle that'll have to launch all the parts that we're going to put together into one nice little spacecraft that's going to fly out to Jool. Get the last amount of science, get the last funds so we can upgrade our stuff, get the last remaining tech tree nodes, and then we'll be good. So that's basically what we're going to be doing for this episode. Maybe the next episode, not really sure yet. I'm thinking that we might need to get up to like 500,000 funds, maybe 750,000 funds. That should be enough to fund the missions. Because of course after we complete the missions at Jool, those would pay a lot, so we can just upgrade all the Kerbal Space Center buildings after doing those missions. So we don't really have to upgrade right now. We'll just wait until after our final mission. So that's the future little layout plan, just in case you wanted to know. But right now, we are flying out to Minmus. And, well, we haven't done it in quite a while. This is kind of an eccentric passing by, but it is Minmus, so we can just, it'll be easy to realign ourselves due to the low gravity it has. So we're just matching up here, we have to get perfectly, not perfectly, but we need to get close to that orbit. I set up the thing good enough so that we're at least on the right side of the planet, that we're in the right direction orbiting. So at least that's nice. But we still have to match inclination, eccentricity. We still have to get into actual orbit still yet, actually. So I'm just going to set up a maneuver. I end up over-calculating. You see me pulling the retrograde twice there, because if I were to do that burn, I would burn so much that I'd be falling straight down, and then I'd burn the other way. So I'd like completely reverse my orbit. We don't want to do that. I ended up figuring that out, but that's, if you wanted to know, that's what happened, and that's why I pulled retrograde twice. On accident. But anyways, we're coming up on the node. And this should be an easy contract to do. Oh, we warped past the thing, but well, better late than ever. Just gonna do our burn here. We want to position this as close as we can to the actual orbit, so we don't have to do any more maneuvers. But as you can see there, I figure out that my maneuver node was inaccurate, and I actually had to burn the other way, because I don't want to turn around, because that wouldn't make any sense, because then you just have to turn around one more time. So I make a secondary node, and it actually turns out that the way I did it, my ascending node is actually right on the orbit. So that means I can fix basically everything right about here. So that's very nice, actually, because that means I only have to do 1 or 2 instead of like 3 or 4 correction burns. So no finicky stuff will have to be done in this launch at least. So we're just waiting on it. We're lining it up perfectly. And there we go. We do the burn. Not much. A few meters per second delta V. You can see Kerbin over there shining. We have 23 vehicles in flight, so don't be surprised if you see crew capsules laying everywhere, if you see probes flying around. That's to be expected. This is, what, the 30th year of the space program? In Kerbal years, of course. We've had a lot of launches. So that's the entire Kerbal system is pretty much colonized. We haven't been to Drace, we haven't been to Moho, and oh, actually we haven't been to Jool or Elo. So actually, we have not colonized the entire Sol system, but that's okay. That is, or the Kerbal system. That's okay, because that is not the goal of this series. The goal of this series is just to max out the tech tree using stock. But however, my next upcoming series, which I think I will start around 1.0, KSP 1.0, I think it's going to be geared around that. You know, colonizing everything using resources and stuff. Because supposedly they're going to have in-game or in-stock resources. So that'll be exciting. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe if you want to see that. The new modded series I might start around 1.0, because that's going to be fun. Even though this series right now is going to be ending soon. What is this now, like the 15th episode? Yeah, we've been a long way in this Kerbal Space program. And it's kind of odd that we're coming back to satellites, but you know, satellites make a lot of money. Just ask SpaceX. So yeah, we matched up our orbit fine. Everything worked out. I think yep, that's it. Made some money. Let's go. So yeah, you can see that we made quite the amount there. And actually we got a lot of science too. So we might actually be able to unlock a node. Maybe later, but yeah, so we just test out the G-forces of the satellite just for fun. But that's probably gonna be the end for this mission, and we'll just move on to the next one. So now away from the boring satellite launch that we had earlier, we have quite the large spacecraft on the pad in another night launch. As you can see, it's making use of the 3.5 meter parts in the bottom, along with two side liquid boosters using asparagus staging. Well, not really asparagus, but you know, there's fuel lines involved. So that'll give us some more delta V, a little bit of a kick. And I think the first stage just might make it to orbit. I'm not really sure. It might. I know for a fact it's gonna get close to circularizing, but the whole goal is for that space station at the top there to fly out to Minmus. So basically, this entire episode is just gonna be dedicated to Minmus mission. And it's actually been quite a while since we've actually worked with the Kerbin system. We've been going out to Ike, we've been going out to Duna, Eve, Gilly, all that, but we have not really done any moon/Minmus missions, which is where a lot of the cash can be found. This one here is going to yield a lot of cash for the orbital state or the orbital station that we're going to be putting out there. As you can see, we're ditching the 3.5 meter stage. That'll end up deorbiting because it's going to hit the atmosphere. But the rest of this space station is going all the way out to Minmus. This is the last stage that we have, so all of it has to make it there in one piece, and then we'll just jettison it once we're in orbit. And we end up coming with a problem. We actually are going to end up encountering the moon on the way there, but we end up taking advantage of it. We actually use the moon kind of like as a slingshot. We're doing a encounter of the moon, and then it's going to slingshot us closer to Minmus at a relative speed. It's going to be kind of eccentric, but it's going to be okay. So we're doing the burn right here. We're using our skipper engine and a large 2.5 meter fuel tank. You can see how the solar panels are arranged there. We have 2 crew capsules, that's 6 Kerbals. And then we also have a habitat, which is 4, so yeah, it's 10 Kerbals, exactly as much as we need for this contract. We have some new science gear on here too. We have the gravioli detector. We're just going to do some science with it, just a little bit. We're just going to try saving up science so that we don't have to go to Jool too many times. Because keep in mind, we do have to use those funds to upgrade the Kerbal Space Center itself. So yeah, we need all the science we can get. And you can see there, we're up aligned with the moon. And it's kind of awkward because I don't really do moon encounters to Minmus, or I haven't really done any slingshot maneuvers that often. So I'm just trying to mess around with the maneuver node to get it lined up with Minmus. And I'm trying to do it. Oh, that's going out of Kerbal, the Kerbin system. Oh, there it is, there it is. Alright, at least we know what we have to do now. So I don't want to wait for that maneuver, so I'm just going to do it right now. I end up burning way too early, but since we're on a very eccentric orbit, it shouldn't matter that much. So I'm bringing down my apoapsis, bringing it down into the right, mostly down, because we kind of need it to be closer. We need to wait for Minmus to get there. There it is. There it is. Now we have like a kind of a weird little hop, slingshot around the moon, and then to Minmus. This is going to be a good plan. I only wish we had this kind of luck in our first episodes. We could have harvested science so much faster if we went to the moon and then to Minmus. But of course we get lucky now and we have all this scientific gear. So yeah, I'm just going to do some transfers of Kerbals into the research lab so we can do some processing of that gravioli data. Because I completely forgot that you could transfer Kerbals. It's kind of also an experiment in itself. But we're just going to end up using the research lab to process some data. Because 5%, 6%, that is definitely sufficient. Apparently, time warping does not affect the lab either, but that's okay. We have all the time in the world. So we're coming up on Minmus. We just kind of flew right through the moon. We didn't really do anything. I think we did like one gravioli test, but that's pretty much it. So not the most scientific of missions going past there, kind of because we already extracted most of the science from the moon. And oh, you see what we did there? I pulled the retrograde again. Yeah, I figure out that I indeed did the same kind of thing as I did before, where I pulled retrograde so much that it put me on a straight course with Minmus, and if I pulled it again, it would make me go the other way. So basically, what it would make me do if I did that maneuver is completely stop in orbit and then go the other way and reverse my orbit. And I don't want to do that. I just want a cheap, easy, circularized orbit. I don't want a reversed, crazy orbit. Even though this orbit is pretty crazy right now, we're in like kind of like a polar orbit, straight up and down. Not one you would see quite often. I haven't even done a Kerbin polar orbit yet. But we're getting onto the burn here. Coming up on the close of this mission. All we have to do is get into some sort. Oh my gosh! All we have to do is get into some sort of orbit, and then it can be valid. But we oh, yep, that was a failed mission from earlier because we were supposed to send a probe to a different planet. It didn't. It kind of ended up burning up and stuff. And to make it worse, I don't even have the footage, so don't ask me about it. But yeah, it was a pretty bad mission, and I failed that one. But however, this one is not failed because we got science and funds from it. And now we've added to our collection, or our bank of funds. And we are almost there. Because that means that all we have left is just a few more fun missions. Then after that, we're going to be going on our final mission. Our final few missions, to be exact, to Jool. So yeah, thanks for watching this episode of Kerbal Space Program where we did a lot of money grinding. I'm sorry if it was a little bit boring, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do for money. Need that money to go off on epic Jool adventures. And also, stay tuned because we have that Jool mission coming up, and we also have this moon mission, and you can see I accepted it there. Because we do not have a surface base on the moon yet, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching again. This is PVM Vertigo. Peace out.